What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of IB Computer Science, and today we're gonna go through A1.3. But today we're only going to go through specifically part one of A1.3 because we decided to break this into like three parts. Uh, because like make it all into one will take too long of time. So what we're gonna go through today will be the role of operating system, A1, which is A1.3.1, and function of an operating system. So because these two small section are kind of similar and there is like a lot of overlapping of content, so I decided to make it all as one note. All right, let's start it. So what is an operating system? So an operating system is a fundamental software that manage both computer hardware and software resource and provide common service for computer program. But after like knowing this definition, some of you might still have no idea what an operating system is. So I'll make some. Here are some example. Mac OS is the operating system. Windows, Linux, Ubuntu, and for example, like Android is also an operating system. iOS, like which is for like iPad and iPhone, it's also an example of a operating system. Uh, so you can think of operating system as like the translator between you, which is like the user, and the computer hardware. And where does the operating system sit at? So you can think of it as like a layer structure. And I got this picture from the textbook. You guys can also check out the textbook. So here is the user. User us, we see something like this. We see something like this. This is what we see. And uh, under the user layer is the application layer. So the application layer are like all those applications. For example, like um, say Safari, like application. These are the application layer, which is application. Yeah, just like it's pretty straightforward. And under the application is the operating system. So operating system, you can think of it as like a kind of a host for application. And under the operating system is the device driver, and a device driver is a special type of software. It's still a software, but it's like kind of special. And what it do is it allows the computer operating system to communicate with the hardware or peripheral device like printers, keyboard, and graphic cards. And a peripheral device, what it means is like anything that plug in to your computer. For example, like USB, USB for keyboard, USB for mouse, printer. These are some example of a peripheral device. Okay, so what does operating system manage? What does operating system manage? OS. So here today we're gonna basically like this is our main topic. We're gonna talk about some different things that OS do. So first of all is the CPU management. So in the previous section in A1.1, yeah, I think it's A1.1, we talk about CPU, about like something about CPU core and it's designed that one core can only focus on one thing at a time. So OS, so what does OS do is OS it decide what should your CPU core focus on doing, and the special term of this thing like allocating your CPU usage is called like a CPU scheduling. And OS, what it also do is memory management. So do you guys remember also like previously we talked about uh, RAM and virtual memory. So what OS do? OS also assign or allocates or deallocates the memory space for a different application and also manage the virtual memory. So it decide uh, what applications memory should be used at where, and how much should these applications use how much memory. And yeah, I'll go through again virtual memory. So virtual memory is like when you're running too much program and your RAM is full, the OS will move data you are not temporarily using to like secondary memory, and this will allows the secondary memory to act as a virtual memory. In this process of moving the data from primary memory type to secondary memory is called paging. Okay, the third thing always also do is storage management. So it keeps your data organized, safe, and accessible on secondary storage device. So for example, like any folder. So let's say CSE. So like these folder is a example of storage management in OS. Uh, device management. Device management. So the OS also handles the input and output. So like for example, like the input will be the keyboard, and the output will be what we see here, like ASD, ASD, ASD. This is when I press the keyboard. This is the output. When I press like ASD, this key. So this is also an example of what the OS manage. And the OS also coordinate the use of hardware components. So like an example of it is like when you plug in a printer into your laptop and you upload like a file. This is already like a simplified step for us user, but behind this, OS is actually like coordinating between your laptop and the printer. Okay, and device management. One example like of a device management you can think of is like device management controls hardware device. This one is like the example we talk about, and provides a standard interface for application. This allows software to perform different operations like printing or saving without needing to know the complex detail of the hardware. So this is kind of hard to understand, but a easier analogy you can think of is what your OS do is it basically like provide a playground for your application to perform what they do. Okay, security. So OS also have a thing called like OS security, and it's designed to protect the integrity, confidential, and availability of information and resource within computer system. So some of the example of security is it's prevent unauthorized access, it encrypts data and file. So like this one is like a second layer, which even with unauthorized access, like the your data is still encrypted. So like they can't those like unauthorized people can't access it, and it also have malware protection. So which it do is preventing infections and intruder. So an example of a malware protection would be firewall. Um, Another functions OS also do is auditing and monitoring. So all systems activities will be tracked by the OS in a log. This logs helps admin detect suspicious activity and potential exploit. So you guys can think of it as like always write a diary of everything you do, and then like the admin can like go inside and check everything you do and see like is there anything that is kind of weird or like suspicious or like need to improve. And also one thing OS also do is accounting. So OS accounts functions that are essential for monitoring and managing usage for a system resource. These functions track resource consumption by user and processes, providing data for system admin to analyze performance, allocates costs, and optimize resource utilization. So I think this one accounting is like kind of similar with auditing and monitoring, but what is kind of different. It's like a diary that records different numerical data for admin to look at it. So it's also something. It's also like a diary, but this one is more like a numerical data. And some example of accounting of like what you always remember would be these like CPU usage, process ID, user ID, user accounting, like a bunch of these. You guys can check this yourself because it's super long and it will take a lot of time to go through one by one. So you guys can just check it out in the notes, which is attached below the video, and or in the textbook. The OS also provides a graphical user interface, which is also known as a GUI. And a, a GUI is something like this. It's like what us users see and have like these menu bar for us to like do different functions. So this is also what OS provides. Um, OS also provides virtualization, so it allows a single physical machine to run multiple virtual machine, and each virtual machine, each VM have their own OS and their own system. So like this is the reason why sometimes you see people using a a Mac laptop but running like a Windows OS on it, or using a Windows laptop and running like a Mac OS on it. And the OS will manage all these VM using uh, hypervisor, which is basically just like OS allocating CPU time, memory, and storage for each VM. So you can think of virtualization as just a combination of all these things we talked about previously of like what does OS manage. An important thing what OS do is networking. So OS establish and maintain network connection, allows device to connect to the internet or whatever network you're using. And OS also provides service for data transmission and communication between device. So this one is like between device and device, uh, what is actually happening is, for example, now I'm visiting this Google Doc, but what is happening behind like this whole thing is your computer is actually like sending and receiving a bunch of package, a bunch of package from other place, and then like make it to the interface we're looking at now. So this is what OS also do. It's like they they do like the data transmission. All right, thank you guys. See you next time.